starting at 2 p.m., not 10 a.m. Tomorrow is 2 p.m. because we'll be engaging two candidates. Today's candidates are Shedrack Mobolaji Esther Onoshokun Bridget, Oyafunke Mutiat, and Adeyeye Funke. Today's presentation will be going on proposal presentation. That is the first presentation that any candidate in the graduate school will be having. They will be presenting to us and the faculty their proposal, which they are going to be basing their dissertation on. So we want to hear them talk about what they intend carrying out as academic research. So on this note, let me welcome those who are present. Firstly, I'll mention the names of the discussant, the reviewer and discussant of today's seminar. We have in the house Dr. Vivian Alofe, we have Dr. Etelbert Okoronko, we have Dr. Samuel Adikalu, and Dr. Kemi Otun. And for tomorrow, we have Dr. Loretta Onyekwere. We have also Dr. Iyeme FM. I want to say that today's seminar presentation is going to be very engaging. We'll be engaging our Doctor of Social Work students looking at what they are going to be doing. It's very important that we have a seminar presentation for us to learn. It's a time to learn from each other. It's an academic adventure, an academic meeting of academics and students and other of those who are interested in academic programs. We want to say that this has been ongoing. It's not the first time, second or third time, and it's our ritual to always engage our students from time to time to sharpen their skills in writing, to also help navigate through difficulties they may be facing during their adventures in the graduate school, and to ensure that each and everyone follows the laid out process and procedures. We know that either project, dissertation, thesis are all academic writings and academic experience that builds up our courage and aiming at helping us to face difficulties and seeing difficulties or challenges that we want to bridge the gap. So candidates will be looking at bridging the gap of whatsoever they intend doing in research, and also to solving societal problems. Solving societal problem is an academic parole that ensures that everyone that is in academics tries to look at one area where they could solve a problem, and it all starts from here, proposal. So let's look at what each and everyone is bringing to the table, and also the discussant will be engaging and showing them the way. I want to say that the candidates are in the process of another level of learning. And so it is not a time to criticize anybody. We critique what you have written, and we look at how to make it sweeter or how to make it better and how to perfect it and ensure that we shun out that which is in constant with academic rules. And of course, we know that we have our own dissertation process and procedure also we need to follow that. And our discussion also will be looking at that, bearing in mind that that has been given to every candidate to follow. It follows the normal route of academic writing, and we must ensure that we come out with the best. So we'll be rubbing minds together this morning as we begin the seminar proper. Permit me to also thank our executive director, who is the Dean of Graduate School, Professor John Emaimo. I want to thank Registrar of the Chartered Institute of Social Practitioners of Nigeria, Dr. Kemi Otun, Associate Prof. As you know, that Doctor of Social Work or our graduate school is jointly awarded by the Chartered Institute and the College of Social Work. That's why you have it, C-ISOWN College of Social Work. So we thank both certificates. So thank you very much. I want to thank each and every of the students who have taken time as well to put down something or put down their minds on what they hope to achieve through their proposal. And for tomorrow, those who will be having their pre-filled and post-filled reports, we're having Ezenwa Magnus. He will be presenting to us his pre-filled report, and Adeyeju Peter will be presenting to us his post-filled report. They also have gone through the steps of where these candidates are stepping in now. So once again, good morning, everybody. I believe Shedrack Mobolaji Esther is in the house, and Dr. Etiebet, okay, I can cite Dr. Etiebet, who will be discussing Shedrack Mobolaji's proposal. So without much ado, can I hear, yes, I am, from Shedrack Mobolaji Esther? If you are there, can I see your hand or your voice? Can I hear your voice? Hello? Shedrack Mobolaji, are you there? Hello, Shedrack. Seems not to be seeing her on the participants list, except if she's using any other device that is not named. Hello, Shedrack. I think I can see her aunt here. Mrs. Adeye Funke, are you there?
I'm answering them. I think it's network. Hello, sir.
Yes. Whose voice is this?
This is Shedrack, sir.
Okay, thank you very much for being there. Okay, we are taking your work first. And Dr. Telbert Okoronko will be reviewing and discussing your work. So if you have your slide, you can come up with it so that we all can see what you have on your slide and follow you as you do justice. We have just 10 minutes to do justice to your proposal. You have the floor, please.
All right, sir. Thank you, sir. Can you hear me, sir?
Yes, loud and clear.
Hello? All right, sir.
Loud
Good morning,
and clear. We can hear you.
All right, sir. Good morning, everyone. Good morning, our amiable coordinator, Dr. EM, Dr. Professor, I forgot Sorry, sir, I'm a little bit nervous here, but
Okay, let me just add to it that Shedrack Mobology staff work is being supervised by Dr. Vivian Alofe, Associate Prof, and is going to be discussed by Dr. Ethelbert Okoronko from Federal
yes,
University
sir.
of Agriculture, Nduke Alike in Ebonyi State.
Yes, sir. Good morning, everyone. Thank you. Thank you for this
Okay,
opportunity,
please
sir.
go
I
ahead
want to
now.
appreciate our coordinator, Dr. Tere, and my amiable supervisor, Dr. Vivian, and and other co-member, all protocol observed, sir. This morning, my research topic says social work strategy for preventing child abuse and domestic violence. I move to my abstract. I'm sharing my slide, sir. I think everybody can see it. Hello, sir. I'm sharing my slide with everybody. Can everyone view it?
Yes, go ahead.
Yes, go
Okay,
ahead.
sir. Okay, sir. So, according to Ojedokun 2011, Atilola 2016, reviewed scholars that recognizes abuse as a global and Nigeria issues. And this research investigates the strategy employed by social workers to prevent child abuse and domestic violence in Ifakojaye local government area, Lagos State. And this research recognized the growing impact of abuse on children and family. And the aim of this study is to identify professional, culturally responsive, and sustainable interventions method applied to workers in mitigating these issues. And we are exploring a mixed method that we are going to use interviewers questionnaire and other documents that will be analyzing what it entails and the meaning of child abuse and domestic violence. Through this research, we are going to examine the practical tools and framework utilized within the urban context. And also, this study will shed light on how frequent use of partnerships, trauma-informed cares, and community-based approach contributed to safety and healing. So this research will also emphasize on the place of understanding how social workers operate within ethical boundaries, uphold professional standards, and create a sustainable support environment. So we are also going to look at, the study is going to look at child abuse, domestic violence, global concern, and also Ifakojaye, reflecting the Nigeria social, cultural, and institutional challenges in Ifakojaye. Then social worker, their role, the vital role in the midst of systemic barriers. And looking at the problem of statements, we are looking at the high abuse rates despite presence of social workers. We look at stigma, fear, and distrust that hinder reporting, the need for evidence-based documented strategy. The objective of this study is to assess prevalence and nature of abuse in Ifakojaye, to identify professional strategy by social workers, and to look at the frequent use and cultural responsiveness. Then the significance of this study is to inform policy and NGO strategies on how they support and prevent the survivor of abuse, empower social work education, enhance protection for vulnerable population, Then the theoretical framework adopted, I look at the three framework: ecological system theory, trauma-informed care framework, then child theory framework. The one adopted for this study, I adopted, the one adopted for this theory here is to the adopted for this theory on the objective of the subject is frequently looking at the question the trauma care, looking at the trauma care informed, that we emphasize the awareness of trauma impact in the life of the children, and then encourage sensitivity, empowerment, and collaboration. Then appropriate for abuse-related interventions. In the case of the trauma care adopted for this research is to align with the emotional and psychological complexity of abuse cases, and then to ensure that social worker approach each situation with safety and healing in mind. Talking about the methodology, we are using a purposive and snowball sampling, then interviewers and questionnaire. Regards the qualitative and statistical quantitative, we are going to look at how the research will be conducted using a mixed method, allow for deeper insight and what and why from interviews, and how often the statistical data. Coming to the key findings. The key findings here is the prevalence of abuse in the study area of strategy used by social worker in counseling, advocacy, and referral. Then how frequently affected by training and resources, inadequate collaboration, and the system gap identified. So to wrap it up, the trauma-based training for social work, strengthening partnership across sector, encourage accurate and record-keeping evaluation. To address the gap, identifying finding, they focus on sustainable improvement in training, collaboration, and cultural sensitivity care for victims of abuse. In conclusion, social work are frontline protector. Then trauma-informed care provide best fit framework, evidence support reform and innovation, reinforce the need for community-based consistent support system. So finally, to wrap it up, this presentation is reaffirming the importance of the study and its contribution to the both practice and policy in Nigeria social work. Thank you for listening. Over to you, sir.
Okay, thank you so much, Shedrack Mubalaji Esther, for your proposal presentation. Before we go ahead, permit me to welcome some of those who are also here. We have our moderator and rapporteur here present with us, social worker Ferdinand Omoja from the Federal University of Allied Health Sciences, Enugu. You're welcome, social worker Ferdinand.
Thank you, Dr. Tere. Good morning, everyone.
So I've just been doing your work. Let me just land it on the discussants. Like we said, social worker, Shedrack Esther have just presented to us a proposal on social work strategies for preventing child abuse and domestic violence, a case study of Ifako Ijayi, local government area, Lagos State, Nigeria. are supervised by Dr. Vivian Alofe. We want to, on this note, welcome the reviewer and discussant of our proposal, who is Dr. Etelbert Okoronko from Alex Ekweme Federal University, Ondufu Alike, Ebonyi State. Can we please have you, Doc?
Yes.
Please, we enjoy our moderator and rapporteur to also help take notes so that we can give it to the students at the end of the presentation. Yes, Doc, we can hear you, please.
Can you hear me?
Doc, we can hear you.
Yes. Good morning, everybody. Thank you, Dr. Tere.
Dr. Vivian, can you please mute your mic, please?
Thank you. Hello. Yeah. Shadrach Babaladi, thank you for your good presentation. I've read through the work and I have some comments to make. Starting from the abstract. At this stage, this is a proposal. The tenses at this stage should be future tense. There's somewhere in your abstract that you use the past tense. I said, let me point it out. We are still proposing. So the tenses should be future tense. Starting from your background to the study, I have one major question. The whole background to the study does not have any reference. No author was cited. And I say this is unacademic. This is not journalistic writing. One of the things that makes academic writing academic is the capacity to reference others. So people reading your work will understand that you are familiar with the existing literature, with what others have said in that area. You are not the first to examine child abuse and domestic violence. Shadrach, are you listening? Shadrach. Hello.
Doc, you can actually go ahead. I'm taking note of this thing. Maybe Shadrach is having some network problem. I'm taking note of what you are saying, and this discussion is being recorded too.
It's all right.
All right.
It's okay. Again, except institutional issues. Again, on the problem of the study. The problem of study is just very sketchy, not up to half a page or even 1/4 of a page. And if not, I've read the background, looking at the statement of the problem, you could not see any problem therein. So it is what is called being able to problematize your problem. That when someone reads your statement of the problem, you could see the problem clearly. But going through these few lines you have here, you will not be able to portray the problem you are trying to examine. In academic writing, yes, you might have the problem in your head, but you should also develop the capacity to put the problem on paper. So that going through what you've written, somebody can understand what the problem is. And from the problem now comes the research questions. So I would suggest that the research question comes before the objectives, unless it's institutional preference. The questions and objectives are loaded. One, to examine the prevalence and nature of child abuse and domestic violence, which I feel can be split into different objectives. the reason for this is that so that when you are designing your questionnaire or your instrument or data collection, thank God you said you're going to use this method. If care is not taken, you may not have questions explaining prevalence, nature. You may not have questions. Now, by this question now, examine the prevalence and nature of child abuse and domestic violence. It is too loaded. For example, if you could have an objective that is examining prevalence of child abuse, prevalence of domestic violence, nature of child abuse, and nature of domestic violence. So if you leave it this way, it should be meticulous enough to make sure that your questions explores these 4 dimensions of the objective 1. And the same runs through in almost all the objectives. So my suggestion, either you split them or you be very careful in designing your instrument so that you have questions exploring prevalence, nature, domestic violence, and child abuse. The same thing also is common in objective 3. Evaluate the effectiveness, sustainability, and cultural relevance. So please, I'll suggest you look into it. Another area I have issues is starting from now methodology. Your methodology, you tried, good effort, but it can still get better. Please, I may need to reiterate this, though Dr. Taris made the point earlier on. Better to improve on the work. Nobody is here to change anybody, just to make the work better. Good. Having said that, your population of study, the methodology, some of the subheadings are missing. Number 1, there is no study area in your methodology. And academic writing in social sciences, I know for sure, to have a study area. The essence is that anybody who wants to replicate this study in that same place will know exactly where you conducted their study. It's not enough to mention IFACO Ajayi local government. Tell us where it is, which other AGA surrounded it by different angles. Again, your sampling technique. Yeah, purposive sampling. But after writing the purposive sampling technique will be used, you should give us reason why you think purposive sampling is appropriate here. It's not enough to just drop it. Again, it says additionally, snowball sampling will be employed to reach other good. Now, you see, by the last sentence, to reach, so that's the reason for adding it. But again, it did not tell us why it is appropriate at this place. Had it been here, I would ask you a question for you to tell us what purposive sampling is. Again, the research, there is no validity and reliability of research instruments in this methodology. They are missing, and it's very, very important. And again, part of it is you did not put your instrument of data collection. The proposal here, there's no references, there's no instrument of data collection, which you need to put, because as we look at the objectives, we go to the instrument to check if your questions or interview guide are really exploring the questions well. And when you add their reliability and validity, yes, that's also to us that we've made effort to make sure that the quality of the instrument is top notch. Again, your method of data collection. In discussing method of data collection, it's good to tell us if you are using research assistant or not. If you are using research assistant, it's good to put the training here so that they will familiarize themselves with the idea you want to go and explore in the field. Familiarize themselves with the questionnaire, the whole essence of the research. They will know it and help you do the work. Your data analysis technique. Yeah, you said you'll be using this method, both qualitative and quantitative. In the last sentence describing your qualitative data, I can see you are printing your results. If you want to sit down and manipulate results, that's not academic. Because he said, coded and analyzed into emerging themes such as, so the emerging themes, you don't know it. What will emerge from the field? You don't know it. You don't have an idea of what it is until you collected your data, listening to your transcriptions, you see what is emerging. Again, in your quantitative data, I think at doctoral level, ordinary descriptive tests will not be enough. You need to take it up to use some differential statistics to be able to make. Again, in that sampling technique, I'm seeing the use of snowball again. I will say, what is snowball doing again in data analysis? Yes, thank you for the putting ethical considerations, but you need to write it more better. You can still improve on what you've written here. I think generally the candidate made a good effort, but again, put references and questionnaires and or instrument or data collection. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah, thank you, Dr. Tere. I think I'm good.
Okay. Thank you very much, Dr. Telbert. Please, Dr. Telbert, can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Hello. Yeah, okay.
Yeah,
Please.
I can hear you, Ferdinand.
Yes, thank you very much for that insightful review. I really appreciate what you have done. I'm taking note, as I said earlier, believing that Mobology 2 is taking note. But the last thing you talked about, are you saying that there is no reference and instrument at the end of the proposal? Just want to be clear on that.
Yes, sir. The proposal I have here does not have references, does not have instrument of data collection.
Okay, thank you
And
very
in
much.
the whole body of the work, only one or two references, only one or two authors was cited.
Okay, yes, I've taken note of that. Thank you very much, Dr. Etelbert. I don't know if there is any other person that have like 2 minutes or 1 minute to make comment on this work that is being presented by Shedrack Omobola. Is it? Okay, yeah. By Shedrack Omobola G. Esther. Any comment? I can see Umezurike Joy Princewell. Umezurike Joy Princewell, can we have you?
Good morning, doctors. Good morning,
Go
everyone.
ahead.
Okay, I would like to comment that the we need to have the papers, like the soft copy of the papers, so that we can read through and equally make our contributions. Because the presentation now, we only saw the slide, but we didn't see the main work, so we can't contribute to anything. Thank you so much.
Okay, doctor. Okay, your this thing is noted. Dr. Kemi out to the protein registrar. I will have you.
Thank you, Dr. Fedrak. Sorry, thank you, Dr. Fednak. The presenter should please look at the specificity of of our objective. The objective is so broad. I think he has modeled up a lot of things together, like the discussants have said. She should look at a specific area she wants to really look at in the area of the child abuse. Is it the domestic abuse, or which area exactly is she looking at? She said she wants to look at policy, she wants to look at domestic abuse, she wants to look at this and that. So she should sit down, look at those points she has raised, make a meaningful deduction from those points, and then align it so that she can really be focused, because our area of focus now is very, very broad. She might not be able to look at all those areas one after the other before within the limited time that is given to her. So she should just calm down, put down all issues, and then look at the specific area she wants to concentrate on, so that she can really nail it and make a good review or results at the end of the day. Thank you.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Thank you,
Thank
doctor.
you. Okay, me. So, Mobolaji, I hope you are listening.
Yes, sir. Very well, sir.
Okay, so I'm not seeing any hand raised. I think what they have raised is actually germane to help you to make your work come better. So there is
Thank
no
you,
need.
sir. I appreciate.
They are reiterating that this is academic work. The whole exercise we are doing here is to make the work better. So, in absence of any other comments, I think we can go to the next presenter. The next presenter for today, we have Onasukun Oludayo Bridget. Onasukun Oludayo Bridget, are you here? Who is still raising hand?
I am here, sir. Please, good morning, sir.
Good morning. Okay.
Good morning, sir. I'm here.
Good to have you. Good to have you. You are talking on flooding and its economic impact on family livelihood over 5 years period of case study area of Orile in Koka, Aguda, LCDA, Lagos State. And
Yes,
your
sir.
supervisor is Dr. Loretta Onyekwere. And
Yes.
Dr. Vivian Alofe is your discussant. So can you, in the next 10 minutes, Oludayo Onasukun Bridget, tell us what you have done so far? You have the floor.
Yes, sir. Good morning, sir.
Go ahead.
My topic is flooding and its economic impact on family livelihood over a 5-year period. And my focus is on Orile in Surulere area of in Kokaguda local government in Surulere area of Lagos State. I am looking at flooding as a recurrent issue because I've been able to work in that area, so I had instances of where when it rains, how people stand inside the rain, inside water in their houses. I noticed that residents frequently experience this water flow during periods of heavy rainfall. So this research is seeking to quantify the financial burden on households and highlight the urgent need for effective mitigation and adaptive strategies. The study area, as I've said, is Orile, which is located within Kokaguda local council development area. And I said that I noticed that the challenge is due to the way the place rapidly developed, became urbanized, and it was not really properly kind of planned before people built on it. I noticed also that their clogged drainage system and lack of maintenance and improper waste disposal activity there. And then the place is also a rapidly developing place, which makes it, people are so many there and it's a kind of crowded environment. My problem statement is hinder financial stability, disrupted income streams. That is what happens after these people experience these floods. And then I have my research objectives and questions, which is to identify major economic challenges experienced by households affected by these floods, the direct and indirect economic impacts on affected households. Another one is to evaluate the coping strategies and resilience mechanisms adopted by these affected persons or households. And the question is how these families adapt and recover from the flood-induced financial losses. The third one being to propose practical evidence-based policy recommendations after the whole thing. What do I think should be done by the government, by the people, and also community-based organizations? What role all of this can play in order to bring about a change for these people. Then my literature review is looking at various things that people have done in the area of flooding. I have some literary persons who have written globally, and I have some people who have written Nigeria issue or on the issue in Nigeria as well. Like I have Ovie Edegbore and Wilson, PhD. Then the NOAA too, what they have written, and other authors too will be considered. Then my methodology and sampling technique. I'm mixing methodological approach to ensure a holistic understanding of the economic impact of flooding in this area. I am using stratified random sampling. I intend to use like 50 to 100 households to ensure appropriate proportionate representation across the different income levels and household sizes. Then I'll use qualitative method too. I intend to also use focus group as my sampling and methodologic technique. Then my target audience, primarily I'll use families in flood-prone areas within the Orile community. And secondly, I want to also look at the community leaders, the stakeholders, who are the stakeholders, and the non-governmental organizations. Then my ethical pinnacle, it's going to be a voluntary thing. I intend to ensure that all participants will freely choose, to take part after understanding the purpose of the research. And then I intend to maintain anonymity and respect the people that will be responding to me. Expectedly, my expected outcome is that I expect to have a documentation of economic losses of this area, of these people, then understand how they were able to cope and adapt with the situation, and then bring about maybe something that can be done in policy area where I can bring about suggestion on what can be done for policymakers. I also intend to make recommendations, like maybe they should improve their drainage system, the community associations, preparedness and involvement, training for them, then financial support schemes that they can access, and then more of government intervention and non-governmental organization interventions. This is all I have for now, sirs and mas. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Onasoku Olodayo, for your presentation. So let's go straight to the discussant, Associate Professor Vivian Alofe. Dr. Vivian, are you here? I think I saw you some minutes ago. Dr. Vivian Alofe.
Well, I'm here, Mr. Ferdinand. I'm sorry for that.
It's okay.
Delay. I'm here.
It's a pleasure to have you on this platform. Can you please go on with your review, ma'am?
Thank you, Mr. Ferdinand. Good morning to everyone on the call, students, reviewers, scholars, and the presenter. It's a pleasure to join you on this scholarly journey. I'm addressing the presenter now. I'd like to have your response if you can hear me clearly. That's the presenter. Are you listening? Are you there?
Yes, ma.
Thank you. So it's a pleasure to join you, like I said, on this journey. By now, I'm sure you have enough experience to know that scholarly journeys are not meant to be taken alone. And you would always need the input and guidance of different people at different times. And that is the perspective I would like for you to look at this whole exercise from. I listened to your presentation, and I would have loved to have something a bit more engaging, a bit more energetic, a bit more purposeful, especially since you said that you made some observation concerning this problem before deciding to take it on. And in research, when a person is taught or motivated by a first-hand experience, it brings in a level of passion that cannot be compared with what you would find in a research taken on by someone who just wants to add something to literature when your research is fueled by a passion to solve a social problem, especially as a social worker, I expect a little more energy. There was too much lull and lag in your presentation, but that doesn't mean we didn't get anything out of it. What would have helped us to get more also is the use of slides. I was really looking forward to that because the version of your work I have is the one sent to me a lot earlier. And I wanted to see if any updates have been made. I was really banking on your slide to be able to do that, but I didn't see any. So now let me go quickly into what I would like to contribute to what we're doing. And I'll start from my general observations before moving into specifics. I would want to say that although I'm not particular about the structure of individual rights, because I know it serves a temporary purpose, to the best of my knowledge, this is not your proposal presentation proper. I take this as a declaration of purpose, because if it's your proposal proper, it will be more fleshed out than this. So it's not like I'm holding the structure of what I have as something cast in stone, but at the same time, there are indications of some lapses that may follow you into the work itself if they are not properly addressed at this time. So I would like for you to pay attention to your use of chapters, your references to chapters, to sections, and subsections. What you have here would have come out better if the ideas you have were properly situated in the right, under the right chapter, under the right section and subsection. The document I have.
I think under the use of chapters, I want to take notes, that's why. Oh my God.
I'm saying that, can you hear me?
Yes, ma, yes, now, yes.
Yeah, I was saying that in the document I have, which I take as your statement of invitation of purpose of what you intend to do, if your ideas would have been better if, for example, you indicated that in chapter 1, you have an edit that says chapter 1, these are the things by essentially in point, like you have them. I'm not saying everything under those chapters should be fully spelled out. And then we move to chapter 2. What I have doesn't have any of sort. I just have some kind of haphazard headings, use of dash and hyphens in hit points. They are quite so I'm calling your attention to the fact that in research, you depend on the use of chapters, sections, and subsections to properly arrange and organize your ideas. That's what I'm saying. And then there were a lot of typos. I want to keep it clear that with credit your work and lower. Beginning from the title of your work, from the topic itself, I started noticing typos, simple things that you could have taken out by just a little diligence. One more look at the document will have sorted this. So please, I need ways of leaving typographical errors in your work. It can be totally eliminated because human error may not. It should be reduced to the error. And finally, on my general observation, I need you to watch your use of language, your use of expression. In every statement you make, there is bias avoid sweeping statements and generalization. Something like, I think in the part of the introduction, although I can see introduction in two different parts of what I have, and that's a little bit confusing. But in the first introduction part, there's this statement that ends with where they experience flood whenever it rains. Where they experience flood whenever it rains. Underline whenever. I believe you understand the implication of the use of that word. And I don't think that is true, that there is always flooding whenever. So every word has implication in research. So
At times, sorry, madam, at times it may not flood.
Will you stop interrupting me? Can you stop interrupting?
I'm sorry, ma'am. I'm sorry.
Now, let me also quickly go through the specifics, beginning with your title or the topic of your research. The one I have here says flooding and its economic impact on family livelihood over a 5-year period of time. Case study. And I think there is a semicolon. Case study, I mean, the one I have with me has a semicolon after period of time. After the word time, there is a semicolon. Case study area of Orile and Coca LPDA. But listening to your presentation, I noticed that some adjustments have been made to that title. It sounds better now, but there are still issues. And I think you have, or I want to believe that you have taken out that apostrophe you have in the word it. When you have an apostrophe in the word it is a contracted form of it is. So the word you really need here, that it doesn't need an apostrophe. So if you are retaining that word, then make sure it doesn't have. So looking at what the topic I just read, I don't know if that is what you still have, because when you were making your presentation, you did not fully read out the title. You kept interrupting it with words. It would have been really nice to listen to your title where you have it now. But since that didn't happen, I'll just go with what I have. Now, the first thing I want to address in your title is the time frame that you made reference to. I need you to understand the implication of that part of your title that says over a 5-year period. I notice you are taking out that of time because it's over a 5-year period of time without of time. So now when you are giving us the impression that this is what you want to do, you want to look at this issue over this period of time, there is an implication. So I want you to decide at this point whether you want to go into this longitudinal study in which, at the end of the day, when you are presenting your data for discussion, you would have to show us a graph or graphic presentation of the trajectory of the impact you are talking about over this period. If that is what you want to do, you can retain your period, your frame, the time frame in your title. But if you do not intend to actually show us the progression of impact from one year to the other to the next, I don't think you will be arrested if you take out that period of time of your hardship. Again, I'm looking at your dependent variable, which is economic impact on family livelihood. In your presentation, I noticed that clearly related what you really want to focus in the area of economic family livelihood. I noticed that narrowed it down to what I can call the income, like the financial viability family. You want to see how flooding affects the income, the financial stability of the family. So if that is the case, I think we can get rid of that word economic, which is really very strong. We may think to narrow down to just money, but at the end of the day, they discover that the word economic will demand more to do than just going to talk about how how flooding affects the ability of families to make. So I will just give this suggestion for you to look at. That is, if you do not intend to do a longitudinal study, and you want to narrow your focus, or you want to define it clearly, that you are looking at financial issues, you are looking at livelihood issues, then you may have something that says effects of flooding. You know, if you take out the 5-year period, then you get rid of the word impact also, because you can only measure impact over a significant period of time, but effect may not necessarily require that much time for observation. So if you are getting rid of that 5-year period, you can go with something that says effect of flooding on family livelihood of the people of Orile in Coca Africa. Effect of flooding on family livelihood of the people of Orile in Coca Africa. So that's for the title. So for the second, there's another subheading here that says structure. So it is in that part that you listed what you want to present, I think, in chapter 1. So I just need you to pay attention to how you allow your focus to branch out. There is a statement here that says, let me look for it, to explore flooding impacts on families. Yeah. This study intends to explore flooding impacts on families that reside in the area of Lagos State. You can see that statement is creating a lot of distraction, because that is not what your topic says. So one thing I want you to keep in mind is that your topic is a contract that is signed with your reader. From your topic, you already told us what you want to do. So any statement that will take you out of that scope, please avoid it. The impacts of flooding on families, that is so broad, you have stepped out of your scope already, because your scope is to look at the impact of flooding on the livelihood. But now you have made it so broad, because the impact of flooding can be from here to anywhere. So the point here is that pay attention, don't allow free use. When you are doing scholarly work, you don't just pick words and sentences at random. Your mind is on your scope, and anything that will take you out of there, you know that it cannot work. Okay, now there's another subheading here. Okay, I think we are still within that introduction, taking us into your proposed chapter 1. In the background, you said you were going to look at or you're going to look at flooding as a global issue. That is good. But I want you to also remember to narrow this social problem down to the national situation and then down to the Lagos situation. Just you can, in your background, start from the global and then remember to bring it down. I'm talking of your review of the situation now. Like you said in your presentation that you already have some literature around that topic. So make sure you search for what will give that robust overview. Or it will be helpful to make a mention from the background of the connection between flooding and climate change. This link is very significant. You cannot be writing about flooding in this age and time without a mention of how climate change comes into the picture, how global warming contributes to flooding. This should be fully explored in your chapter 2. I encourage you to make that a major subheading for your literature search. The discussion of the connection between environmental factors, climate change, global warming, and flooding problems globally and nationally. Let that be. So I'm only encouraging you to think at it in your background and then explore it fully in chapter 2. As that will position your work as something as a well-informed and relevant and timely research. If that topic is out of it, then we can situate your work anytime in the 1980s. But in this period, you cannot talk about flooding without mentioning environmental issues that we are facing on the planet at this moment. The statement of the problem, what you have as statement of the problem is a kind of justification for the study. And they are not the same. Justification and statement of problem are not the same. So you already have some points in your background. Some of the points you listed as what you want to explore in your background already points at the problem. So by the time you succeed in spelling out some consequences of flooding, it will become obvious that there is a problem which should receive attention of social workers. I don't understand why research in social work would be conducted without proper projection of your discipline. Everybody is promoting their area of specialization. With their research work, you are promoting your discipline. So in this entire proposal, there is nothing that can make anyone know that you are a social worker and you are looking at this problem from the lenses of social workers addressing social problems. So when you take the problem, find a way to drag your discipline into it, because anybody anywhere can decide to study flooding. Anybody from any discipline, if you look at it, you can decide to study flooding. But something must be in that work that will make us understand that, oh, even social workers are making contributions. They are looking for solutions to this problem. So strengthen your statement of the problem. It has been said over and over that your statement of the problem is the foundation of the entire business you are doing in that chapter 1. And your chapter 1 is the foundation you are building for your work. So that foundation should be strong and logical. The statement of the problem is the cornerstone of the foundation. So I think we need to amplify the problem. If you don't, then there's no need for your research. Now to the objective, there are some challenges there that I don't really know how to quickly go over them, but I'll just see how we can address them. I think, let me say this before we speak. Your research objectives and questions should be properly aligned. That is common knowledge. By the time you clearly specify your objectives, when you get to the research question, let there be a connection. You are asking questions that will help you achieve your objective, one after the other. Exact questions that will help you achieve the objective. One research objective I think I saw here is that you want to identify key economic challenges. I'm not, I need to, let me quickly look at it. I'm looking at this now, and it's beginning to look like my own. Okay. Let me go on with my suggestion for you. And that is that you can have a research question, objective that seeks to identify major financial challenges or major threats to family livelihood, like destruction of, I'm just giving examples of what that means now. Destruction of business spaces, maybe this disruption of trading patterns, something like that. That is the challenge brought by flooding. That's the challenge itself. I'm doing this because I want you to cleverly separate the challenges themselves, what you refer to as economic challenges that we are trying to narrow down to financial now. I don't want you to mix them up with the impact, like the effect of those challenges. They are not the same thing. I'm saying that you can differentiate between the financial challenges themselves, like identifying them can be an objective, and then identifying the specific effects of these challenges is another thing entirely. So you're kind of shortchanging yourself if you address them together, like taking the challenges for the impact of or the effect. I may be using the impact and effect interchangeably because I don't know, when you finally sit to look at this with a supervisor, I'm not sure of the way you decide to go. So your objective says you want to identify key economic challenges faced by families due to flooding. And indeed, I suspect that both the challenges and the effects are being lumped. Try to separate them into two different research objectives. It will help you keep your work on track, because you see that by the time you got to your second objective, you had already branched out to something else. Now, your second objective says you want to evaluate coping strategies. If I were in your shoes, I don't want to go into coping strategies. as an objective under this topic, that sounds like an entirely different research on its own. Coping strategy, that's enough. So if you separate the challenges from the effects, I don't think you want to go into coping strategies as an objective under this topic. Because the effect of the challenge can go as far as family dysfunction. That is an effect. Can go as far as financial tension. And your instrument must have been structured in a way that will make your respondent point at this possibility. The effects of the challenges can include mental health issues. Your instrument, if you intentionally design it, will help you get to the something with which you can measure the specific effect. So I think you need not go into coping strategies as a major objective of this research, looking at your practice. I already said that when you settle your research objectives, then you make your research questions to address them directly. What you have now is not quite clear. I'm talking about your research questions now. Talking about the direct and indirect economic impact. That is very vague. What is direct to you may not be direct to any other person. So why not just tell out exactly what you want to do? Be more direct in your use of expressions. Your third research question is out of the scope again. There's always this tendency to want to veer off, and I need you to quickly arrest it now. What is that third? What role can policies and community intervention play? No. In supporting affected families, what role can policies, that is going to extend your research beyond what anybody can track. You may want to talk about the policies and the interventions that can be of help, but I don't think it should be a major objective here, because your title is not telling us that you are setting out to investigate the role of policy and community intervention. I also think it will help us if you include operational definition of terms as part of your chapter 1. Now to your chapter 2. I want to say that it would enrich your work if you, like I said before, begin by exploring literature around the topic of flooding, looking at the different perspectives on the topic. Please take note of that. That will be a major part of your chapter 2. And then there's this point that says key theories and family framework. Please, I want you to figure out appropriate theory at this point. By now, you should know the theories that can support what you want to do. Not just for the sake of including theory. In fact, in some research, your chapter 2 is referred to as literature review and theoretical orientation. So you are looking for theories because you want to use them later. I've seen many cases in which people just include theories for the sake of it, maybe just to boost the number of pages in chapter 2. I don't know. But the reason you are bringing in theory is, one, you want to tie your work, like I said before, to theories of social work. What are some theories in social work that can explain some factors in your research? If you make that projection from the beginning, you don't need more than 2 at the most. That is if you think a particular theory can address one part, and then another theory would support or provide more credence for another part, then you can have 2. You can have one. One theory sometimes can suffice because you are bringing them in, not necessarily as part of your literature review per se, but because when you get to your discussion of findings, you want to make reference to them again, to those theories again. You want to point out the fact that this finding goes to show, if, for example, you discover that the effect of flooding on the family boils down to some kind of family dysfunction, there are theories that explain family dynamics. So you pick one of such. When you are explaining your data, your findings, you make reference to that theory. That is what makes your work solid and truly scholarly. So there is this indication that you are going to identify gaps, and I think that is excellent. Identifying gaps in literature is actually the essence of your literature review. It is not just a question of piling up names of authors. When you pick an article, for example, you do a review talking about the strong points of the article, some things you believe would have enriched the work, some things that are missing, or some gaps that can be noticeable, maybe because of developments that have taken place over time. Maybe you're reviewing an article published in 2022 or 3, for example, and then there are already recent findings. Then you want to make mention to that this article doesn't address it because some other findings have come on board since then. So it becomes a gap. By the time, I'm not saying that you should go and start looking for start forcing lapsing on articles. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying that when you pick up a material for your review, you look at what would have made that material, that content, richer. So if you are working on families, for example, and an article focused on maybe the corporate world, so you want to identify that as a gap, like, yes, this has addressed the corporate world respectively, but the such articles addressing family issues in relation to flooding are not enough. Maybe especially addressing the Lagos situation or the Nigerian situation. That is a gap. I'm only saying that the fact that you intend to identify gaps in existing research is highly commendable. So please ensure that you do just that. To the methodology now, what I have here starts with the research design, which is actually your approach. That's your research approach, which the approach you are adopting for your research. And you said you are looking at the quantitative and the qualitative, which is okay. For your study area and population, it is not well defined here. Your population is already defined in your title. So when you are doing your methodology proper for your proposal, be very specific about your population. You already mentioned that you're looking at families in a particular area. That is your population. Your data collection, interview, focus group, case study, and I'm a little concerned about that because you said your research approach is both quantitative and qualitative. So I can't see anything here that will help you gather data for the quantitative part. I don't know what you mean by case study as a data collection method. I'm not familiar with that. I was thinking for your quantitative, you want to make use of questionnaire on the best have a reason for missing that. Which I understand how that is. So take another look at, but the moment you mention quantitative and qualitative, you have to stick by that and work everything along with that in your chapter. So it is good you mention it first, so it becomes the compass with which you navigate your chapter. Data method is here. I don't know what that means. You have just data method and statistical method. I don't know what that means. Maybe you wanted to make reference to your method of data analysis. Let that subsection be very clear and come out clearly with the method of data analysis you intend to make use of. Target population. Yeah, you said your target population are families that are directly affected will be considered with diverse demographics, family size, and all of that. Then stakeholders for qualitative, all of these things that you have, this qualitative interview and all of that doesn't align with the subheading target population. So please take a look at that and chapter 3 is very easy because you just go with the appropriate subtopics. I mean subheading. If you have the appropriate subheading, you just give us information on what you want to do in relation to that subheading. Under your target population, mention the people, your population, just population. Mention the broad spectrum of your population and leave it at that. One for the family, and then this other one for stakeholders for qualitative interviews. I think that is for the qualitative part. That's a little bit confusing for me, but if you sense the need to speak with NGOs and all of that, I think your focus group discussions and your interviews will do best in this case because you are looking at government officials. Are you going to speak like 3 or 4 of them together to begin to have a focus group discussion? I think interviews will serve you better. Quantity sampling, I'm not familiar with that. Sampling technique is what I know you should be talking about at that point. And you said, I intend to use stratified random sampling. I don't see how that fits in because you said you're looking at families and then you want to talk to a few government officials and NGOs. What are you going to stratify? In the family, are you going to group fathers together into a stratum or strata, or are you pulling children out? So stratified random sampling does not apply to this research as your sampling technique. For the qualitative, your purposive sampling is okay because on your own, you can look at the available official and determine who can serve your purpose. So we can go with purposive sampling for your qualitative, but that stratified thing cannot work for your sampling technique. And it's very important because You cannot have the entire population of the people living in that area for your study. So if you think your sample size is unknown, it's an unknown sample size determinant, you can use, unknown sample size, you can use that unknown sample size determinant to determine the appropriate sample size. There must be a method with which you will determine your sample size. It's very important. But stratified random sampling cannot serve the purpose. And you cannot have a range of sample size from 500 to 100. No, it will not work. By the time you use that your sample size determinant, you should be able to come out boldly to tell us that you are focusing on 100 households or 150 or 200, depending on the size of the population itself and the amount of time you have on your test. So please check out that probability change, like between 20 to 30, 30 to 40, be very specific by the time you bring out the proper methodology for your real proposal. So I'll stop here. I think I've mentioned the bulk of what I have to talk about. Thank you very much. Over to you.
Thank you very much. I'm Dr. Loreto Nyokuri, who is supposed to be the supervisor of this student. Professor Vivian, I must thank you very well. You did a thorough review of this work. But it will shock you to know that I never saw this work.
Oh my God.
I did not see this work. And when Dr. Terry sent the timetable for the presentation, I opened and I saw my candidate's name. And then I was wondering, I said, could it be that this lady has come back to do this work? Because I know that she communicated me earlier when she saw that she was assigned to me to supervise. And so I called her. I said, Mrs. Bridget, what is it that I saw on the platform? Are you still in this program? We talked last a month ago, and you told me you had some issues that made you not to have been in touch with me. How come I'm seeing your name in the timetable for presentation? And so she said so many things. I said, well, that they were asked to submit their topics and there was no time for her, so she had to put up something and had to submit. I said, is that how they do it? I didn't stop at that. I opened the work. If you check, you could see that it's something that she just put on net, probably ChatGPT or whatever, that gave her point. The format is completely different. It just point like that. And everything, just your observation, from the beginning, I opened my system, I'm with laptop, and then I have my phone. You picked on everything. And you are very, very, very correct. There was nowhere I could start doing anything, so I had to call Dr. Terry. I said, look at what I'm seeing. Is this girl actually going to present her work? Where has she been? And then Terry said, oh, that when we are asked to present, to submit their work, that they were given time, week to week, month to month, for them to submit. And that she submitted her work and she has sent, and him, Dr. Terry, has sent the work to the discussants. I said, work that I did not see. And then I called her again, Bridget. this your work, where did you get it from? He said, I had to package it and just send because I heard that there was no time and we are asked to submit the work. So I believe that Dr. Tere could not step down this work because the work has been sent to you already. I want to tell you that this work, it goes in the presentation, the format, everything, just with bullet points. Is that how we write research proposal? Nothing, everything. She just want, in fact, you gave us full lecture. And I want to tell you that she did not note anything. She didn't get anything from you because she does not know what to do. Just like your observation where you talked about the work not even having anything to do with social work. How can she be talking about the impact on family and all that without even bringing in anything that has to do with social work? Okay, look at the theoretical framework. She mentioned so many theories. She never even explained any one. Then coming to the methodology, I mean, nothing there. She's mentioning so many things at the same time. And you could see the use of her language there. I identify Oleri as the area where they usually experience flood. I intend to consider flood events and their experiences over a period of 5 years to ensure relevance, availability of participants. Just putting up anything she probably saw in the net or from ChatGPT or wherever, I don't know. So what I want to let you know, Professor Vivian, you did a thorough review and every of your observation is very, very correct. Please don't be offended. The lady did not do any work. Neither did I see what she did. She on her own packaged this thing and sent without even letting Dr. Tere know. And I called his attention to it. But he couldn't withdraw it because he had already sent the work to you. So thank you very much for your observation. Maybe Dr. Tere will take it up from there so that we'll know what will happen to her. Thank you, Professor
Thank
Vivian.
you very much. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
Thank you for your comments.
Thank you, Associate Professor Vivian Alofe and Dr. Loretta Onyekure. I don't know, Dr. Kemi, you want to say something?
Please let me come up before Dr. Kemi hear our view.
Okay, Dr. Tere.
I hope I'm audible enough.
Yes, I can hear you. I can hear you very well.
Thank you very much, Dr. Vivian Alofe, for the insightful discussion on Bridget's paper. And thank you, Dr. Onyekure, on your observation. I want to say that at the beginning of this, they must see, and their sponsor must have input in their work. And that's the
Dr. Tere, if you can hear me, we can barely hear what you are saying. Is anybody hearing Dr. Tere?
No.
Can't hear him at all.
Dr. Tere, we can barely hear you.
I can't hear him too.
I doubt that he can hear us. He
Finish,
cannot
log him
hear us
out
well,
first
so
now,
he
so
wouldn't
that
know.
it's okay.
Just hold on a while. Let me call his attention to this.
Okay, Prof. Okay, I'm seeing Professor Onikwede's hand. Is it down? Okay, Dr. Kemi Otu.
Good afternoon. I think Dr. Atele is trying to play himself from this a little bit of embarrassment. Please, I think we should all note this. Every of our students should note this. I hope my voice is clearer. The issue of studying is not just to go and package something from somewhere and just drop to the platform for people to get embarrassed. This is a higher level of study. It's more or less like when you finish this, you are there, you are an expert, you can satisfy other people's work. I wonder if a doctoral student should go and complete what we are seeing so far this morning. Please, stop embarrassing everybody, please. If your paper is not ready, it's not compulsory that you come and do presentation. You can hold on to another time when you are fully prepared to do the presentation to your supervisors. Please, let this stop itself. And I will also like to tell Dr. Tere not to be offended, but if you look at paper and it's not presentable, reject it and block the students from presenting. That shouldn't be an offense by any means. And I'm happy that the TGD students are also here to learn one or two lessons from them. I wonder how a PhD student will be bulleting their points when it comes to theory and they don't even know what to bullet. When it comes to methodology, they are bulleting it, they don't even know what they are doing there. It's really, really disgracing. At this point, we're supposed to be interacting to look at little things that we are missing and then we quickly fix it. Not that we do something as if we are at the undergraduate level or we are at the PhD level. It's really, really embarrassing. Please. That's why Mr. Tere is just giving it out to us from the bottom of his voice. But unfortunately, the network is making the voice to our sister. So please, let's go back and redo our paper. Please, please, please. It's really, really embarrassing. Please, let's stop this. Please. I think that's where we stop for now.
May I just add something, if it's okay?
Okay, Dr.
Yes.
Iyeme.
Yes, I would just want to add that maybe what we should do would be to ensure that we include a step that will go along with the submission. In other words, anytime a student wants to submit their proposal or whatever, they should have a cover note or something that says the supervisor attests that this was part that the supervisor reviewed this before submission and submitted. That it would go a long way to ensure that we prevent this kind of thing from happening. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Iyeme. Professor Nikbede, you still want to say something?
Yes.
Okay, Prof.
Good morning. Good morning, House.
Yeah, okay, go ahead.
Good morning, House. The last two speakers have said almost everything I wanted to say before, except that I think rather than allowing the supervisor alone to check the work, there should be a committee to look at the work before final approval is given for presentation. That's just what I want to add. That will give us better this thing about it. It's not just the supervisor, because now the supervisor and the candidate is on the hot seat. Maybe I would say that. We can step down any work at any time, even at the point of presentation, if the work is not good. But if you have an in-house committee, am I communicating?
Very well, Prof.
If there's an in-house committee to look at the work, approve it for presentation, we won't be having this problem. However, this very work, if the candidate will do serious justice to it, it's a very good work, because it's talking about household flooding and household economy. Maybe in Lagos, though I speak Orile, but based on what has just happened, maybe you just need to present. But then the house must look at the work before the presentation. Like you said, not only so the supervisor should sign or approve for presentation. We need maybe it's a 3-man committee to look at it and then approve for presentation. That will give us a lot of this thing. Thank you.
Thank you, Professor Nikpede. Mercy praise. Can you speak in less than 1 minute if they have not covered what you are saying?
Yes, sir. I'm coming from different angle. Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon.
I'm grateful for the faculty we have. The faculty is fantastic. I want to talk to my fellow student, the lady that is presenting this paper, Madam Esther. I think you have the best of the faculty, and the issues they are pointing out are germane for you to have a successful PhD program. Remember, every PhD program has a story. Whatever story behind your own, just put that story aside and take in or suck in everything they have pointed out in this your work. That will go a long way to help you. Thank you, sir.
Okay, thank you very much. I think that settles it. Everything is pointing towards the same direction. I want to believe that Oludayo Onasokun, Bridget, are you still here? Bridget, are you still here? Okay, if you are not here, whatever thing that has transpired will be communicated to you. This particular presentation is being recorded. Let us make progress. It is always good that the students present themselves for supervision, so that we don't begin to have issues of this nature. The third presentation is going to be done by Oyafunke Omolabake Mutiat. I hope I pronounced that one correctly. Are you here, Oyafunke?
Yes, sir. I'm here.
Okay, so you are presenting on the topic community-based.
Hello, Saka Ferdinand. Can you hear me?
Who is speaking?
So this is Dr. Atere.
Okay, Doc.
Yeah.
I can hear.
Sorry,
Yeah.
my phone is somehow erratic. I don't know what the problem is here with my network, but I'm using Dr. Vivian's phone now.
Okay.
So concerning what has been discussed, well in order, I know that severally I have asked that each student must see their own, discuss with their supervisor, and get a sign-off on the first page of their work before they can be presented for seminar. But we have done that about 2 times and nobody was forthcoming. We just need to bring them up here for them to be discussed and they see what other academics will also see. Sorry, Dr. Onyekwere, for all that has happened. It has it's really not a good one. But we want to say that we are not joking here. We are telling the students that we are not joking here. What we are doing here is very important, and we are following academic routes. And because of that, nobody should think that he can do it all alone. There's nothing that can be done all alone. Even if a professor comes into this program today, he has to also follow this route. Whether you are busy, it is not of our concern. You have to find time within your schedule to do the needful. Be mentored. Supervisors are supposed to be mentors to candidates that have been assigned to them. And mentees should also be available. I was even surprised, which was a good one, that your supervisor was calling you. You are supposed to be following your supervisor. But your supervisor is not calling you and you are not doing anything. That was why all these things happened. Please, other candidates, like we said, have signed that note of warning from the beginning. And I'm saying it again, that this will not happen again. If you know you want to spend 10 years within the lifespan of this program, you are free to spend 10 years. But that is not our plan. Our minimum is to be 3 years, at most 4 or 5 years. But if you feel you want to spend 10 years, just go ahead and you continue to pay school fees. But we don't want that to happen. We know what the economy is saying now. We don't want that to happen to anybody. And that's why we are doing what we are doing, to ensure that you do the right thing. So there's nobody that will pamper anybody here. But whatsoever is needful, whatsoever is honorable, is what you do. Your supervisors are there to guide you into all this process. And we have a format to be followed, which we sent on the platform of this program. We also sent to each of the supervisors. So whenever you are presenting that is not in sync with the module that we are using, is out of place. It will not be accepted. I'm happy that this is happening now, and I know that each one is taking correction, not just DSW students, PG students, master students, even SW, PCE students who are on their seminar now should also take cue from this. It is good that we follow processes and procedures. Academic work follows processes and procedures, which we must sign in to. Please, I want to beg you, don't ever do this again, because it will not happen again. And I want to say to our faculty in the house that it will not happen again, because this is actually an embarrassment to the program. And we don't want anyone to take cue from what had happened now. It is actually an embarrassment. So please do due diligence to whatsoever you're supposed to do. You may be very busy. If you are busy, you can ask for time out of the program. Now, when you are less busy, you come back into the program. So there are procedures, there are routes to all these things. So thank you very much. I think the moderator can take the next person. Thank you. But at the end of the 4 presentation, the dean or the registrar will take verdict on the 4 presentations. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Dr. Atere. So based on that, to submit ourselves to due diligence, we are going to take on the 3rd presenter, which is Oyafunke Omolabake Mutiat. The supervisor is Dr. F.M. Iyeme, and her topic is community-based participatory research with vulnerable population.
Thank you.
Advancing ethical practices in Lagos State, Nigeria. And the discussant is Dr. Samuel Adekalu. Oyafunke, you have the floor.
Good morning, sirs and ma'ams. My topic I see on the screen is community-based participatory with vulnerable populations, advancing ethical practices in Lagos, Nigeria. The abstract of this study. This study explores the ethical dimensions of community-based Participatory Research, CBPR, and it's involving marginalized groups in Lagos, Nigeria. So drawing from the foundational ethics of respect for persons, beneficiaries, and justice by Belmont Report, 1979. This research aims to identify ethical approaches that strengthens trust, collaboration, and empowerment within community settings, and is a mixed methods framework incorporating both qualitative and quantitative methods because they will be applied for comprehensive data triangulation. The primary data will be collected via semi-structured interviews, focus group discussions, and structured surveys involving both community participants and researchers. The investigation builds on frameworks established by Israel et al. 2010 and Mikla and Wallerstein 2008, targeting the current gap in context sensitivity ethical guidance for CBPR, community-based perspective research in African societies. The outcome will contribute an empirical grounded ethical guide for future participatory research initiatives. And the keywords here are community-based participatory research, research ethics, variable groups, ethical frameworks, participatory methodology. I'll be using the acronym CBPR to replace community-based participatory research. So the introduction now, and the background. The CBPR represents an inclusive research paradigm that prioritizes the voices and experiences of community members, especially those from disadvantaged backgrounds. It is particularly relevant for groups that face systemic exclusion, such as individuals experiencing poverty, displacement, and discrimination. Through ethical engagement, CBPR can lead to more meaningful research outcomes and build lasting partnerships. That's Mikla and Wallerstein 2008. The model aligns closely with ethical frameworks centered on individual dignity, minimization of harm and fairness. Belmont Report, 1979. However, practical implementation in diverse settings like Lagos often reveals discrepancies between ethical theory and practice. This study will address those ethical dilemmas and proposes actionable strategies adapted to local realities. The problem statement. Although CBPR promotes ethical inclusivity, its application within Nigerian communities frequently suffers from inadequate community engagement, imbalanced power dynamics, and limited benefit sharing. These shortcomings hinder research effectiveness and credibility, and there's a noticeable lack of empirical data on how ethical principles are practically upheld in CBPR involving Lagos State vulnerable communities. This study seeks to fill that void by identifying best practices tailored to the local context. It will be based mainly on Ifakojaye communities. Then my research questions and objectives. The research question, I have 3 research questions. And those are, what are the key ethical obstacles encountered during CBPR in Lagos State? Then in what ways do ethical research practices influence trust and community engagement? And the third one is, what locally grounded ethical standards can improve the effectiveness of participatory research? And I have the study objective to be to analyze ethical obstacles present in CBPR efforts with marginalized populations. 2, to investigate how ethical adherence influences trust and involvement. And then to compile best practices for ethical CBPR that reflect the views and needs of local communities. And I go to the literature review. That's the theoretical lens, the underpinning participatory ethics. This study is grounded in PAR, participatory action research, which champions collective inquiry and change. PAR involves participants not only as subjects, but as co-researchers contributing to problem solving based on their lived reality. Ferry, 1970. Ethical participatory research entails shared power, mutual respect, and accountability to the community, according to Palestine and Doran, 2006. The global insight on CBRP ethics. Globally, CBPR has addressed complex issues in health, education, and social equity. Successful projects often integrate ethical elements such as shared ownership, community representation, and consent procedures tailored to cultural norms, according to Cargo and Mesa, 2008, Israel et al., 2010. They argue that long-term engagement strengthens trust and the validity of research. So applying ethical standards in CBPR, the Belmont principles as respect for persons, beneficence, and justice require careful interpretation in participatory research. Respect involves informed consent and autonomy. Beneficence focuses on minimizing harms, and justice calls for fair participant selection and equitable benefits distribution. Emmanuel et al., 2004. The ethical shortcomings in African CBPR. Research in African context highlights several ethical tensions, including difficulties in obtaining information. Ocheng, 2011, Sindana et al., 2007. There's a pressing need for guidelines that are both ethically sound and culturally grounded. The study intends to develop a practical ethical model for CBPR in Lagos by investigating how ethical principles shape participants' involvement and trust. It responds to the lack of empirical documentation and offers a locally informed ethical roadmap. And the methodology framework. I'm going to use a mixed method approach that will integrate qualitative and quantitative tools to comprehensively understand ethical practices in CBPR. The study location and participants. The study will take place across selected urban communities in Lagos State, NGOs, local groups, and representatives of vulnerable demographics.
Sorry, can the administrator mute everybody else, please?
So the study will take place across selected urban and peri-urban communities. Ifakojaye has different kinds of class of communities. That's why I'm going to base it on Ifakojaye local government. Then the sampling method. I'm going to use purposive sampling which will identify key stakeholders, why snowball sampling will aid in our communities. Then the data collection tools. I'll use qualitative, that is interviews and FGD scripts addressing ethical concerns, inclusion and empowerment. Then the quantitative aspect, I'll use surveys capturing perceptions of ethical conduct in past and ongoing research efforts. So the data collection are in-depth interviews with community and research professionals, then focus group sessions with community members. I'll also use structured survey distribution facilitated by trained assistants. The analysis techniques, qualitative will be thematic analysis using in vivo software, and the quantitative, I'll use descriptive statistical analysis using SPSS. The ethical safeguards, will be sought from a registered ethics board. Informed consent will be obtained. Culturally respectfully, our approaches will be maintained, and findings will be validated and shared with stakeholders. The results are discussion. Then the themes from the qualitative data: lack of trust. The previous negative experience with research were frequently mentioned in decision-making process, while the power imbalance issues of control by elites and local gatekeepers were noted. So the survey outcome, 82% of the participants will, okay, the interpretation of the findings. The findings demonstrate that ethical engagement enhances will not only participate, but also the overall integrity of research. So this outcome will reinforce the work of Israel et al. 2010, particularly regarding the value of long-term community collaboration. So the recommendations and conclusion. Integrate ethical training. I'll introduce modules on participatory ethics into academic and field training. And they will create local ethics panels, which will include community members in the ethical review process. Simplifying consent processes. We develop consent material and reflect local languages and literacy level. And institutionalized ethical guidelines will be embedded in the ethical CBPR standard into local policy framework. So this study will demonstrate that, in conclusion, this study will demonstrate that ethical considerations are not peripheral but foundational to successful CBPR. And then adhering to the principles of respect, fairness, and harm reduction cultivates stronger partnership and more reliable data. So the resulting framework will offer a pathway for conducting more inclusive and ethical sound
you have less than 1 minute to conclude.
In Lagos and similar contexts. Thank you for listening. That's about all for now. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Oyafunke, for that presentation. Let's go straight to the discussant, Dr. Samuel Adekalo. Dr. Adekalo, good to see you on this side.
Yeah. Good afternoon, everyone. And let me personally appreciate the presence of the registrar of the Institute and all my senior colleagues. And more importantly, the assigned supervisor of these candidates. in person of Dr. Iyeme FM. A very beautiful afternoon to everyone and all students who are here. Omo Labake, I think I want you to take a seat. If your refrigerator is close to you, please get a cold water and take. And get your pen and paper, and let's move further as regards to your research presentation. From my observations, I think I'm in the same conditions with the supervisor of the last presenter. And I'm afraid because Omo Labake himself, I don't know, maybe she understands what research proposal is. More also, I want to also believe and appreciate her that she has done something. She has presented something for us to take a look at. And at the time I'm reviewing our work, I was like, I get to a level I have to pause because it's like I wanted to write a research proposal for her. And I think by the time she sees feedback on this paper, it could, of course, a lot of interesting narrative and suggestions has been put into our work for her to move ahead. But sincerely, you have done something that we can look into. But I'm afraid because your research presentations is like you just read the whole things you have in your research proposal to the audience. Beyond that, I'm also afraid as an academic that I'm always seeing twin line spaces of just pages, 4 pages, just 4 pages, double line spacing, 4 pages of research proposal at this level. So I begin to wonder that is it that you are trying to apply for admission to the institute and you are required to upload a kind of
Dr. Adekal, if you can hear me, you are breaking. Dr. Adekal, if you can hear me, you are breaking seriously.
Why?
Please take a position and enjoy your.
Two things to just let's know areas of your interest, not for you to get admission. Because you are in the business doctorate
Are we still on? I can't hear anymore.
Yeah, it's like there is a network problem with Dr. Adekal.
Yes, sir.
So let's I don't know how we are going to make some progress concerning this particular, because he's still the reviewer. If we are maybe during comment, we would have said let some people contribute. I don't know. I can't even see Dr. Dekalu again.
Maybe he dropped off. Since he said he had put his takes down on things, it would be nice if he shares it ahead of time or shares it with others so that they can see, and then we can comment until he comes back.
I think that is a very good one, Doc. So I don't know if you have anything to say. Okay,
Yes, I do.
Okay. Okay, Dr.
Hello?
Dekalu,
Yes.
Yeah, I'm here, please.
Okay. Okay, go ahead.
Okay, go ahead.
Thank you, please. I think from my observations from the work, I don't know the point I stopped before my network.
You are talking about 4 pages of a research proposal.
Yes. And what I have before me is just 4 pages of single line spacing. So I begin to wonder if Omolabake is applying for admission into the institute, because she has applied, she has passed through some required courses, and now she's at the proposal level. I expect a more comprehensive research proposal as regards to what she has written, but fine, she has done something. Because I was afraid at the time I was reviewing her paper that I almost writing a proposal for her. So I have to pause at that level, that she's here to learn. And I will appreciate to take note of my observations. And also for her to know that when it comes to research proposal is a document proposing a research topic or a research project, which is generally known in academia. So as an institute, our own institute, we are here with a serious business. And when it comes to research work, we are looking at serious-minded students who are ready for research and other interesting academic business of the institute. So at the level of your proposal, Omolabake, I think there is a need for you to really improve on your work. Let's start from your topic. All right. When we look at your topic, we are talking about community-based participatory research, vulnerable population, advancing ethical practice in Lagos State, Nigeria. Please, is this a research topic, or you wish, or your wish is to review a research method? Because I'll make you understand that community-based participatory research is an approach, is a method used, and are mostly used with collaborative research work that involve community members, if I'm right, researchers and other stakeholders in all stages of research projects. So I want to be clear about your topic for using community-based participatory research approach. So I was wondering, because looking at the topic itself, it's like you want to have a review of a research method often used in these areas of your research interest. So, but beyond that, the method is relevant to your target populations. Who's are your target population? You're talking about vulnerable people. Of course, this method or approach is often used in that directions. So if you want to look at the, from the top, you also say advancing ethical practice in Lagos State. So I begin to wonder, is this, your topic look more like an article topic? I'm not seeing the touch of a research proposal. I mean a proposed research topic. So I'm looking at, probably from my observation, you look at assessment of ethical practices of community-based participatory research on vulnerable population in Lagos. So, but I'm still, I think your supervisor will further look into that area. So to make sure that the topic is well structured, the suggestion is made on that. But of course, your target populations and areas is also very important. You wrote an abstract. I begin to wonder, and because you have to be specific what you are writing on the abstract. Okay, there is nothing wrong for you to have a kind of a brief of what your research proposal is talking about. But I seem to see that you are yet to understand even the concept of what you are talking about. Okay, you are talking about vulnerable population. From what I'm seeing here from your abstract, it's like you are working on marginalized group. And to the best of my knowledge, I think there are difference between what qualifies one as a marginalized person and what qualifies someone as a vulnerable person. Okay? So when you look at some established agency, they've defined this in different contexts. Okay? I've made an input in your work to let you know that probably you look at the position of United Nations Development Programs, definitions of vulnerable people, what they mean by vulnerable people. To them, they believe that vulnerable people are people who are deprived or decreased in terms of living standard. But you are talking about marginalized people here. And of course, when you look at USAID, which I believe your supervisor is an expert in that, with the agency, which is United Nations Agency International Development. Their position in defining marginalized, because you are, from your work to the end, you are completely, you didn't talk about vulnerable again. What you're talking about is marginalized group. You're not talking about vulnerable populations. So if you want to, stick to this concept, your target population is very, very, very important. But unfortunately, when I look at what you've written here and I go to your chapter 3, those you are referring to get your data from are completely different from this your target population as reflecting your work. Okay? But of course, I see in some line you were talking about involving both community participant and researcher. Well, I'm afraid when it comes to researcher, I think only you, or you need to hire a research assistant that will help you during your data collection when you are doing your field work. So be mindful of what you intend to refer to at every point in time when it comes to your work. Of course, you also talk about framework in your abstracts, but you didn't mention what the framework is all about. How do you arrive at framework? Which of the framework are you looking at? So I'm still not to be clear about that. Okay, but these are my observations on your abstracts. So I will expect you to name the framework you are looking at. Okay, now let's move to your introduction. From your introduction, I see I'm only seeing about four lines here in your introduction, if I'm not mistaken. 4 lines. I think it's about 5 lines. And I can see that you are just coming to read what you have in your research proposal. If I remove your cover page, what I have here is just 3 pages. And I think that is required when you are looking for admission, not at the midst that you are doing your research. And I didn't see any connection with regards to the concept that you are looking at, which is community-based participative research. I didn't capture what exactly you mean by community-based participative research from the global context. What is the view? Community, taking it more in terms of African context. I didn't see it. Nigeria, no. You focus on Lagos, no. And I was afraid when you also mention your presentation that you are looking at Ifakojaye. What is happening there? I don't know. Unfortunately, when we get to your methodology, we will now see areas that you want to look into, because you need to answer some few questions to me. I live in Ifakojaye for 26 years. So there is nothing you want to talk about Ifakojaye local government. My primary school, secondary school is Ifakojaye. So I'm interested in your areas of studies. Because when it comes to this aspect of your research, as referred to that location you're talking about, where at the doctoral level, you may not be limited to Ifakojaye. You may need to widen the scope of your work. There are many local governments. We have 20 local governments in Lagos and many development developmental area in Lagos. There are about 50-something of them. So using Ifakojai, we'll take a look at it. Okay? So that is from your background of study. I have not really captured what you intend to achieve from your background of the study. Okay? So I can see that you only mention CPRU involvement in Lagos vulnerable community. And I was like, interesting statement. But provide data to expatiate this statement. If this is happening in Lagos, please provide data. Let's see data. Who is saying it? Or is something you form from your own imagination? Research is not done that way. Every statement you make in academic work, you must be referenced to. So you may need to look at that aspect, and suddenly you move to problem statement. I don't see anything problematic here that you want to address. There's nothing here that you intend to address in this work. In fact, there is a place I highlighted here which will make a very strong statement, which sounds research, but you said there is a notable lack of, and I think you mentioned in your presentation, there is a notable lack of empirical data on how ethical principles are practically upheld in community in Lagos. Please mention them. Please mention them. Let's see. And from there, we can pick us the research gap. In terms of knowledge gap, methodology gap, we can see it there. And areas that is still lacking, that is bringing your interest to this area. So what I heard you saying, both from introduction to problem statement, is Ifakojai, I'm just hearing. Take me there. Take me to Lagos. Take me to the global context of this topic. How is it being done? Then take me home. Let me see the view in Nigerian context, where I also confirm what you are saying. Because at the time I'm reading your work, where Omalabake, you may need to seriously improve this work. Because ChatGPT and AI, by the time I pop in this work, I can see where you pop out this work from. And unfortunately, I can see how you now automate using, bulletin. And that is how AI will give it to you. And you have just captured it from there and put it here. We academics now, we are moving with the trend. Even AI, some of us have accepted AI. But it's also very important that our experience is also very important. And I want to strongly believe that there is no how AI we substantially beat the experience that most of us in academics have acquired. Those experience, we can use it to, walk in line with whatever we are seeing. So AI is giving me details of this, your work here. So you need to take note of that we are here for a serious business. Okay, I hope you are taking a cup of water with my observation. So I move to your research questions. Of course, I don't know, maybe you follow the guidelines of the institute. If it is the research question that is calling for research objective. From my own areas of experts, I strongly believe that once I look at your problem statement, I look at your research objective. The next thing I'm looking at is to go to the literature to see if you reflected each of those objectives in your literature, which I'm not even seeing yet. So from your research objective, I'm seeing you to analyze ethical obstacle present in CBR effort with marginalized population. You can see now you are still taking marginalized population. Stay focused on vulnerable populations. Researching on vulnerable people is an interesting area. Because when you focus on marginalized people, these are people, if by virtue of right or not, maybe it's other factor affecting them not to have the same benefits that others are enjoying. And by virtue of that what it implies is different from what vulnerable people are. So many factors can make one to be vulnerable and not being deprived. So you need to look at what look at your topic and be well guided, because from your objective here, those you want to look into are marginalized population. Who are those? Where are they in Lagos? Is anyone being marginalized in Lagos? Even people say Lagos is no man's land. I seem not to subscribe to that school of thought, because the Badagry people, the Ekpe people, the people from Badagry, people from Ekpe, Alimosho, they will strongly have a strong statement. Korodu people, we stand on this. So you need to look at those aspects of your research work. But you say you want to investigate how ethical inherence influence trust and involvement. I mean, I'm afraid you are using the word trust. Trust on what? So I think you need a total, review of your work. And you know why you are not getting it right at your research objective and question? It's because you have nothing written as a problem to this work. You have nothing to research on. And I'm encouraging you to please go back to your research methodology materials and look at how research is being done. There are so many areas that need interest that you can fit into, which will be more interesting for you in this journey. I want to believe there is no more stress for you to get this DSW, but you have to work for it. You have to work for it. Coming to your literature review, well, what I'm seeing here, you just go straight to theoretical underpinning. And I don't see anything that look, as theory to romanticize this your work. I didn't see anything theory here. You are still talking on participatory action research. And I heard you saying something at the beginning of your presentation, that you are representing CB, community-based participatory research. At the end of the day, that you'll be using a participatory action research. I don't know what you mean by that. I don't know what you mean. Okay? Now, if you want to do a comparative study, let us be clear how community-based participatory research is being approached from country to country is different. And if you are looking at this work, you will do more in terms of documentary review. So many documentations you have to look into and review it. How it's been done in the Western world may be different from how it's been done in the Asia. And coming to African context, it may be different due to peculiarity, which I think you get that part of it. But you are not here to link the work to the expected guideline that will give you a roadmap for you to exactly know what you are doing for this research. And for the literature, well, I'm not seeing anything. What I'm seeing here before, I told you your paper is just three pages. Okay, study contributions. I mean, I was afraid. We even said ethical shortcoming in Africa. I was afraid, Africa or Nigeria? What are you looking at? And you only give me 2-3 lines there, which you have read to every audience in this platform. Okay? I think I've done a lot of contributions with regards to this work, because for me, there's no need to, areas of improvement is most important to me, which I have really give you some input to see areas that you should look into, and of course, query some certain position of yours. Okay? Methodology, well, your methodology, you've said you want to use mixed method. Of course, at this level of your methodology, mixed method, I think it is when you later study, look at various angles at which community-based participatory approach is being, addressed. before you can know which of the method you want to benchmark on as far as this work is concerned. Because when you look at your study location and participant, you do say that you want to look at urban, communities in Lagos State, okay? Engaging NGOs. You can see you want to engage NGO, local leaders, faith-based groups, and other representative of vulnerable demography. I'm afraid what you intend to do with mixed method with this. Okay? What you intend to do with mixed method with this. Secondary data will give you more information, and it may be good for you to limit your work to qualitative research. Okay? Because I don't know how you will share questionnaires around this, your target audience you are talking about. Now you want to engage the NGOs, people involved in NGOs with regards to this matter, local leaders, faith-based groups, and representative. You need to look at, you need to look, and when you said representative of vulnerable demographic, I was wondering who are they? Please mention them. So it's not the issue of you just, copy. Unfortunately, from where you copy it off, I think what I would do now is to go back to my research tools and just point those links that you get all these things for and send it to you so that you know that what you are doing, you are not really, yes, to take part or take the rightful route with research. You know what make me afraid more? Let me just go. You said you have result and discussion. I'm afraid at the proposal level, you dare not talk about result and discussion. Although you may talk about how you want to analyze your result at the end of the day. How you want to back up, just making a kind of a proposed way at which you intend to see how you want to do your analysis of your result. But I'm seeing, teams from qualitative research. Have you collected data? You've not even go to feed. I'm talking about teams. The qualitative lack of trust. Who is saying that? How do you get this? From who? Is it from those people you mentioned that you want to get data from? Have you gone to the feed as your supervisor, give you clearance? So where did you get this result from? Lack of trust, shared leadership, power imbalance. I think stop at that your ethical, guidelines.
I think Dr. Dekalo is done. I think he's being specific. Dr. Dekalo.
I believe your supervisor is capable. Your supervisor is capable. He understands these areas of your research interest, which is, is areas of experts. You know this terrain you are looking at very well. So you need to work, closely with your supervisor and see that you get the best from him in order for you to enjoy this doctoral research journey. It's very easy. It's nothing much. But of course, it has its own process. It's a process. Research is a process. But sincerely, you have done well because you have given me work to do. And I'm happy to even do this work because I enjoy doing research work. But of course, my input have to be looked into. Silent recommendation and conclusion. You've not even done anything. There should not be anything, recommendation or conclusion now. So, but of course, within the limited time frame, I strongly believe if you look at my observations and corrections from the topic to the last part of your work, you are good to go. You are what? You are good to go. But you need to be courageous and know the basic guidelines when it comes to research work. From the topic which I believe if you really follow up on your research methodology class, there are different steps that you may have been introduced to and come to this conclusion. But sincerely, let's say you've done well, and I must appreciate your efforts. But of course, please work closely with your supervisor. I believe it will guide you and give you the necessary resources, limit the scope of your work, and of course, take you further to the journey of this our doctoral DSW, to be precise. So please, these are my observations, and please, I'm very serious with the issue of your study population. If Akoja, it will be limited for you. Be limited for you. You have to at this level, you are not doing a PGD program. You are doing a doctoral program. So let's look at the views using this approach at various levels in Lagos State. Maybe you capture it from the senatorial, look at each local government in each senatorial district in Lagos. And of course, with the more of you will get a more robust data to see how you move forward with your work. But I sincerely still look forward to the other level of this your work. And I'm interested in this topic. And I so much am wishing you success in this journey. Thank you very much, everyone. And thank you so much, other reviewer who has made comments. I think our students, they are on the right track. I'm believing that with time, they will get used to our pattern. I want to believe some of them are coming from different background. And of course, they also need to build what we call a supervisor-student relationship in terms of supervisions, which is also very, very important. And I want to refer some of our presenters, the students. Please Google Professor Stephen Henry Cross. Is a professor from New Jersey. He has written an article on supervisor-student relationship in terms of research work. So you read the article, look at his findings. That will give you a clear picture of how to manage and relate with your supervisors. We have the resources, but of course, we also need a serious-minded student, because in the institute, we are here for a serious business. I think that is my closing remark for this presentation. A good job, Omo Labake, and I wish you success in your research journey. Thank you very much, everyone.
Thank you very much, Dr. Adekalo. Your review has been both explosive and also insightful. And in your usual manner, despite all your constructive criticism, you still encourage the student. Dr. F.M. Iyeme, I don't know.
Yeah, I have a couple of thoughts. And thank you very much, Dr. Adekalu, for that expose, actually, on the processes and things. Not holding brief for the students, let me put some things in perspective. My understanding of this process was that, or based on what obtains in this part, was that there is a seminar where you present your topic, and where you present that topic, you kind of expand a little bit on each of the aspects of the topic. After which, if it is approved to go forward, then you develop a full proposal that has to do with a lot more digging and get information and all of that. So that was the understanding and the guide that I had in coming into this. Now, the second part is that when I reviewed this, I did tell the students, and I think I wrote down some things that I shared with her. I said, one, your proposal that you're writing sounds like it has been done. However, in one of the, let me read here, I said, this seems like an already implemented activity based on the conclusions and the data. If you are trying to do something, you shouldn't be having those things. But then the second part is but your section 3.7, ethical safeguards, reflects the proposed, reflects the process that will be followed. This means the activity has not been done. Or in other words, you're trying to do the activity. So there is a discrepancy between the two, just like Dr. Adekal pointed out the discrepancy between between marginalized and vulnerable. It is not only in this proposal, but in many places, in many documents, even in this part of the world, people tend to intermingle the two. They tend to look at the two as the same because somehow there is a nexus between that marginalized and vulnerable. Because some aspects of marginalization can make you vulnerable. And so but certainly if you are focusing on one, it's better to expose yourself on that and so on. So yes, those things would be brought. And I believe that the student is doing her utmost best in trying to present this. So it's a question of understanding that for this, you need to be, this is the expectation that this seminar is actually for a detailed proposal that you would have put in for people to review and address and so on. So yes, the aspects of there are some strengths that Dr. Adekal pointed out, and I just want to point at some and say, yes, the focus is clear, but it may be jumbled in terms of the area that you're picking on. I agree that yes, you need to, if you're choosing a small area, but you need to look at it in the context of the broader environment. How does the broad environment affect that small area? So you cannot just look at the small area alone as a stand, because the ecosystem does not allow a standalone systems and so on. So that's fine. And then the literature review, yes, there were some very good literature review that were mentioned and so on, which is good. But it is only that one that I see, two of them that I see that are actually good. But I thought that, okay, for this initial seminar, yes, one or two would be fine. However, after that, when you submit the actual full proposal, after your subject and the perspectives have been approved, when you submit your full proposal, then you can have all of those seminars, all of those literature fully addressed and referenced. So yeah, there are things. And so, of course, those areas of improvement that you have noted, Dr. Adekal, are very, very cogent. And I'm sure that Labake would be able to address those things as well. So thank you for all of that. And so on. I think that I don't know what the next step would be, but certainly it will be having to redo this proposal and do it effectively with all the aspects that we now know should be the way it is, and submitting it to the school for further review. And I thank Dr. Adekal for making himself available to support this process. It's always a good thing to hear. So thank you all very much, and thank you, Labake, for the job done. It's still work in progress. And of course, like we said, the biggest room in the world is the room for improvement. So we will always improve on this. Thank you. Have a good day.
You're most welcome.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Dr. Iyeme. Any other contribution? Dr. Kemi, Professor Nikede?
Yeah, thank you so much. I want to propose that a fourth objective to be looking to in Funke's work, which will look at the way forward and correction to the abnormalities that she's studying, so that those at the policy end will know what to do next. Because research has to create a room for upgrading, a room for review, a room for contribution to the progress of the development of the community. That's my objective, and that's my main contribution. Every other one has been touched. Then there's no need for snowball sampling. It doesn't need a snowball sampling in our work. It doesn't need it at all. Thank you.
Any other person? If there is none, I think we can move to the. If there is no I think Omobolake Omobolake, I hope we heard what has been said.
Sir, thank you very much, sir. I will address everything that you said. Thank you.
It's okay. Let's go to the fourth presenter. Adeyeye Funke Bukola. Are you here?
I'm here.
Okay, Adeyeye Funke Bukola is writing on assessing non-actors initiative, reintegration, a case study of MRC, Lagos, Nigeria. Her supervisor is Professor Kayode, and the discussant is Dr. Kemi Otu. Adeyeye Funke Bukola. Adeyeye, I can't hear you.
I'm here.
Yes, you have the floor. Continue.
Can I start?
Yes, start.
Good day, Mass. Good day, sirs. My proposal topic for of social work 2025: assessing non-state actors, initiatives, and mechanisms for returning integration. Case study of Migrant Resource Center, Victoria, Lagos, presented by Adeyeye. My supervisor, Professor Kayode Nipe. I have my content for the proposal. I have abstracts as number one to the study, statement of problem, aims and objectives, research objectives, and limitation, research of study, theoretical framework, methodology, ethical consideration, and expected outcome. I start. Returning reintegration is a critical or a topical issue in Nigeria, as described by some scholars. However, Nigeria is witnessing of returning challenges. This study will highlight the roles of non-governmental organizations and community-based organizations in facilitating
Can you move
in
when students are
it will also
move to where there is no speaker so that we can hear you very well. Something is echoing your presentation.
I'm inside my room and I lock everywhere.
Maybe you put your
I'm inside my room and I lock everywhere. And there is nothing that is on.
We are hearing you now, but before we are not hearing you.
So, should I start afresh, ma?
You should start afresh, please. Start afresh.
Good day, Mass answer. My proposal topic for Doctor of Social Work 2025 is assessing non-state actors, initiatives, and mechanisms for returning reintegration. A case study of Migrant Resource Center, Victoria Island, Lagos, Obalende, presented by Bukola Funke Adeyeye. My supervisor is Professor Kayode Onipede. I have my content for the proposal. We start from the abstract according to the template given by the school, by the institute. Abstract, background to the study, statement of the problem, aims and objectives, research questions, research objectives, theoretical frameworks, methodology, ethical consideration, and expected contribution. I read from my abstract. Returning reintegration is a critical or topical issue in Nigeria, as described by some scholars. However, Nigeria is witnessing a significant influx of returning facing reintegration challenges. This study will highlight the roles of non-governmental organizations and community-based organizations in facilitating social and economic reintegration in Migrant Resources Center, Lagos. Using quantitative tools, the research will address gaps in academic literature and provides practical policy insights. I have my keywords: immigration, returning, reintegration, empowerment, non-state actor, MRC, and Nigeria. Background to the study. Returning reintegration is essential for national development, social cohesion, and peace. In Nigeria, limited job access, education barrier, and social alienation hinder reintegration. Non-state actors offer vital services such as training, advocacy, and support mechanism. Statement of the problem. Returning face multiple barriers: joblessness, isolation, trauma, and stigma. Government intervention alone are insufficient. Informal networks lack sustainability. Understanding and evaluating non-state actor strategies is critical for policy design. Aim and objective. My focus aim is to assess the role of non-state actors in returning reintegration at Migrant Resource Center, Obalende, Victoria Land, Lagos. My objective will include evaluating initiative, challenges, outcome, and best practice to inform effective reintegration strategies. Where my research objective will be to identify and document the reintegration strategies employed by non-state actors in MRC Lagos. 2, to evaluate the effectiveness of those strategies in facilitating returning reintegration. 3, to examine the challenges faced by non-state actors in implementing their reintegration strategies. Where I have my research question as well. What initiative and mechanism are non-state actors employing for reintegration? What are the challenges and opportunities they encounter? How do those efforts impact reintegration outcome? Where my scope and limitation. My scope focus on only MRC, Migrant Resource Center, Obalende, Lagos, and non-state actors' role in reintegration. Then the limitation, the results may not be generalized across Nigeria due to the context-specific time and constraint that I may have in the course of my fieldwork when I start. Significance of the study. 1, it will provide insights for non-governmental organizations, policymakers, and development agencies. 2, it will strengthen intersector collaboration and evidence-based policy formulation. 3, it will foster sustainability, reintegration, social inclusion, and economic stability. It will also contribute to the existing literature on returning reintegration and non-state actors' engagement. Because of time, there are a lot of significance that I'm envisaging to have. Theoretical framework. 1, sustainable livelihood framework. Evaluate access to asset and economic recovery. 2, human development approach. Measure well-being, empowerment, and participation in reintegration. Both frameworks will support holistic reintegration policy and practice. My methodology. I would like to use design, that is mixed method, quantitative and qualitative case study will be used. Sampling, purposive, focusing on stakeholder and returning at MRC Lagos will be applied as well. Also, data connection. I will use maybe interview, focus group, documents review, and some other means of data connection, like in-depth interview with MRC. I would like to apply in-depth interview in form of key, they will be my key informant, they will represent my key informant interview. That is why I will use KI, that is key informant interview. Then I may use online, because of the returnees, they are scattered and may not be able to reach all of them. So that is under my methodology. The ethical consideration, participant consent will be obtained and documents. Anonymity and confidentiality will be guaranteed. Credits will be used strictly for academic and development purpose. My expected contribution after I have carried out. One, as a doctor of social work, it will enlighten effective community-driving reintegration approaches. It will recommend evidence-based strategies to improve reintegration framework. It will support policy reform that reflect life experience of returnee. It will evaluate the reintegration strategies of non-actor with a focus on MRC returnee in Lagos. It will also identify effective reintegration strategies employed by non-state actors. It will contribute to the existing literature on returning reintegration and non-actor. Thank you for listening.
Okay, thank you very much, Adeye. Without, okay, let's do the discussion. Dr. Kabiotun.
Thank you so much. I want to ask the our aim for this project, because I don't understand that. To answer me in one question, what is your aim?
Adeye, did you get the question?
Network is not good. I can't get the questions.
I said, what is your aim for this proposal?
My aim for this proposal is to see the way MRC, Migrant Resource Center, is one of non-governmental organizations that take care of returnees coming from abroad. Either they force them or they voluntarily enter. And as we all know, when they come, some don't have their own house again. They don't even know the state where they belong to again. So my aim of this study is to see how they reintegrate them. And the three indicators that I would like to look into, is one, how did they accommodate them in fitting house? Two, training. Three, employment.
Can you hear me, please? Answer what I asked you. Your paper on academia in 2024, what is your aim? Your 2024 paper on academia, what is the aim of that paper?
I said my aim is to assess the role of non-state actor in returning reintegration at MRC.
Hello, listen very well. I'm asking a question. your paper on academia 2024. What is the aim of that paper? What is the aim of that paper you author in 2024?
Dr. Nick is the supervisor and is raising hand. I think it's like he wants to give some clarification. Professor Nick,
good afternoon. I'm directing the question to Mr. Adeyeye also. Mr. Adeyeye, the question your discussant is asking is that this paper or this part of this work or the whole of this work has been kind of done by you and some other people. And that this paper is already on academia. He's talking about, if I'm reading his mind, it's like that is the damn same work that we are representing here.
No.
If I that's what you are representing, that same work here, or do you have another objective for presenting, for coming up with the same topic and the same aim? That's what he's asking. Okay. So let's continue, please.
Okay, thank you, Prof.
What is your aim of that in academia 2024? Can you recollect that paper you co-authored by somebody in paper? That's the issue of paper. You co-author it with
That's why I'm major in migration.
Can I read the topic of that paper to you? The role of wait, calm down. We are all learning here.
Yes.
Because they talk about plagiarism. You should know that you have violated that law today. The paper reads, the role of state and not state action in the reintegration of return in Nigeria, changes and way forward. This paper examines the role of state actors, non-state actors in the reintegration experience of returning Nigeria. It further explores the challenges encountered by state and state actors in the return migrants. Recommendations for policymakers and registered actors in the return migration process in Nigeria. See, actually, I have discussed so many things in your paper, and I refused to send it back to Dr. Akere because I was so upset that somebody of your caliber, a doctor, a PhD holder, should not play on the intelligence of other colleagues. You have a very different role or different aspects or objectives to look at. It would have been very better for every one of us to look at it with you, to discuss it all together with you. That's your paper in 2024. Look at the state and not state actors. Only looking at actors here. So, and after I read through your paper, I have read through your paper from A to Z. I've also read the work of Itunu Ilesomi, who is also talking about civic assets and the barriers of the integration of returning in Nigeria. So I was trying to compare that paper, and I saw your name on me. Why I read that paper fully, I can see that we learn many things from that paper. We are not here to play. We are not here as somebody that has no clue. We have been sitting on this seat now the past 4 hours. If a student did that, how will you feel? Will you be happy? It's to you. So bring it to your paper and discuss with your supervisor. I'm bringing down your paper. You should look for another topic to research on. Please. We are not here to play. We are not people that doesn't know what to do. And because the purpose of this program for people to study, to know how to do things, and be a future leader to guide other people. We want people that will jealously guide this profession and take it to the next level. So I'm sorry, the panelists, but I'm saying my mind. We are bringing your paper. So please bring us up so that we can discuss that and you go and do it. Thank you all for listening.
Okay, Professor Nikbede again.
Thank you for, thank you for giving me the floor once again. I want to appreciate Dr. Kemi Otun. And we have discussed, like she said, we have discussed this work. But I want to ask, can we advance on what she's done already? Or she's done already? The only thought, the only thing I can, the one that you gave me, the work she gave me has to do, the work she gave me really don't have anything to do with Migrant Resource Center in Obalende. But as it is now, can we look for maybe another state using that same topic and just say it's an advance, that he wants to advance or move, just on what he has done before, making reference to what she has done before? The question is for the House to decide. I'm not deciding. I'm not saying she can. Of course, you can still advance on what she has done in Lagos, because I can realize that almost every work is on Lagos. Can we do this in also somewhere at X? Thank you.
Okay, if respectfully, I think Dr. Ken has said that we need to, I think faculty have a lot on their hands now. So I think it's something that I think we probably decide on this platform. Maybe some lot of. I'm thinking that the faculty of the College of Postgraduate Study of the Chartered Institute, they need to be able to find a way around it.
Okay, sir.
But
okay, sir.
As you said, work can be enhanced, but not having verbatim what we have presented in another. Dr. Kemi is making reference to the issue of
legalism. Yes.
Which is very, very serious, and we all understand that. You understand? We cannot, at this stage, you cannot be found that aspect is going to consume all of us. So I think at the faculty.
If you are advancing what she has done before, we are going to use the complete. I know we are going to change the topic. It's
okay.
Yeah. Thank you.
It's okay. And okay.
You see, I have really studied her work. The thing that when we talk about returning and the reintegration, they are on 3 different levels. First level has to do with the adjustment returning. she might talk about the non-stakeholder. And at this stage, we will talk about the safety of these people and the environment where they are now, so that they don't get displaced in the future. That's the first aspect of it, which I'm not. She wants to do that. That is why I asked her questions earlier, and she said exactly what the objective of the other work that has been fought. Another way she can look into is the settlement of these people in terms of adjustment, which has to do with their social, cultural changes. And some other communal issues that is different from where they are coming from, where they are now, the reality of who they are, and how they can easily adjust so that they will not lack financial issues. Because if you look at many of these returnees, the next thing they will tell you, in London, we have a very good way, we have a very straightforward train, we have a very transport system. In London, we don't do this. In America, we do this. In this, the health system is perfect. So those are the issues that she can look into further again. But talking about the third aspect of it, which has to do with rehabilitation, why we are considering the migrants, the non-state people, and the state people, and some other things, the community, then she has not moved further. So she has a very good places she can focus on again that will make the paper very different from what she's really doing at before. So she can look at the readjustment or look at the settlement. So and further put her, but not come with what she has done before and expect us to come and be discussing that. We have a lot to do. We are not wasting our time here. We have a lot to do. So that's my submission. Depends on what the outcome for.
Okay, thank you very much, Dr. Kemi. And I think this is the last paper for today, and this is almost 1:30. Okay, I think that's a good one. Hoping tomorrow's on will be as fast as this. The next thing is that we needed to take, that is the protein registrar need to take a verdict on all the 4 presenters. So I don't know, Dr. Kemi, how you are going to do it. Do you read them one by one? Or do you, I think the ball is now in your court for the verdict for the 4 presenters that did their proposal today.
I don't know if I'm giving a portfolio is in every. I would put the and think to discuss their paper and represent.
Who and who?
The first presenter and the thinker. The first presenter and Omolabak.
It's like I'm having difficulty trying to hear what you are saying. I hope the recording is getting what you are saying. But I wanted to take.
We can't hear clearly.
The first presenter. Can you hear me now?
Yes,
yes, we can hear you.
Okay.
The first presenter and Omolabak.
Okay.
That's Shedrack and Omolabak. to readjust their paper to fit in what the discussions have observed, what their supervisor have also observed and contributed to their paper. They can present. Madam also needs to vividly work on a paper, and she as supervisor, she needs to work vividly with her supervisor. And then to the committee that will approve a paper. And the supervisor will sign on.
Short, I'm so this thing is frustrating somebody.
Don't be frustrated. The last presenter, like I discussed, might need to adjust a topic to fit to our areas of advancement, like the supervisor has proposed.
Okay.
But we cannot present submitted to academia to us to review. It's not too good for me.
I think okay. So that because it seems that
Hello, this is Saturday on July.
let me try to rephrase so that
Hello,
it will help to put my notes very well. There was
hello,
one that
sir.
was
Hello, sir.
yes.
I think there was a mix-up when I was submitting the document. Because that
Mrs. Adeyemi, wait for allow them to talk.
there
Allow
was
them
a
to.
mix-up. It was a different as my
Okay, Mrs. Adeyeye, let me land if I'm very clear. Dr. Kemi has said that, as the supervisor of the last presenter have said, that there could be some adjustment, that the work is not too good for her. So we are looking at that option of adjustment because the work can actually be enhanced. I know that. Then there is a work that was reviewed by Dr. Vivian Alofe that the supervisor says she has not seen that work for the first time. So I think, Dr. Kemi, I think that is one of the ones that you are saying that should be represented.
Yes, the one of which Dr. Yes, she needs to work closely with our supervisor because that work is really, really a mess up.
Okay. Okay, yeah. So that candidate should work with the supervisor. Then you are saying that the first person that was reviewed by Ethelbert, they should look at the correction made by Dr. Ethelbert and continue.
Yes.
That presenter. Then the third presenter was done by Dr. Adekalo. That is okay, yes. Supervised by Dr. Yeme. So, yes. And Dr. Yeme has given an intervention that they are now going to provide an elaborate proposal that he thought that this one is supposed to be a summary. So we are looking forward to that elaborate proposal. So with this one now, so the major place where we need somebody to get approval now is this person that was supervised, that is being supervised by Dr. Onyekwere, while we look forward to proper enhancement from the person Professor Nikpede is supervising, while the person, the first presenter that Dr. Telbert discussed have to adhere to the correction made by Dr. Telbert, while we wait for a complete proposal presentation from the candidate of Dr. Iyeme. So that is the way I have captured it in my notes. Then I'm going to write a more comprehensive, but this guide will help me so that once I submit the report, it is what is being agreed on this platform. Any other issue?
Yes, I just not directly on what you have just said, but for tomorrow's thing, when I read the schedule originally, I thought tomorrow's one would be at the same time too, which was 10 to 1, but this is 2 p.m. your time, which is 8 a.m. my time. And I am a deacon in church, and I'm the one moderating service tomorrow. So I'm wondering if we can make some adjustments to allow me do that. If not, then I'll just have to submit my thoughts and things in writing.
Okay, I think we can agree on that before the end of the
Yes,
Dr.
I think which time will be favorable to you, sir?
Say it again. I didn't hear well. No.
Which time will be favorable to you? Should we adjust or we should move it?
Anytime after 5 p.m. would be fine, because I would have been back to the house from church, because my church is 8 to 10, and after that there's a meeting to discuss how the church went and things, and after that by 10:30 I should be back to the house, and I can get up straight to my computer and set up and review things. But I don't know if it will be too late for
30 a.m. will be 5 p.m. for you, right?
Yes, that's 5 p.m. for you guys, yes.
Okay, should we bring it downward and discuss it earlier?
I think what it means is that instead of starting by 2 p.m., we can start by 3:30. The first person who first, then before that person.
Can I please say something about that, please?
Okay.
So that we can finalize.
Okay.
Yeah, thank you very much, everybody, for what has been done so far. Tomorrow we'll be having to discuss 2 students, and I don't think that will take us much time, probably 1 hour plus or highest 2 hours. I think we can actually reschedule for 5 so that we can give Dr. Yebe time to do whatever he wants to do in church and be back home for him to take his student. So please, let's agree that we'll meet at 5. Between 5 and 7, we should be done.
I think that is okay.
It's okay by me.
5 p.m. is okay.
Okay, I think 5
Who would
p.m.
have
is
also come back from church and rested?
Right. Well, I appreciate that very much. Thank you all for understanding.
Okay.
So can we, this is not a physical class. Can we all unmute and at least give ourselves a round of applause? We've done a very wonderful job today. Can we all unmute?
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you all.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Professor Vivian.
I'm glad I'm part of this program. I've
Thank you,
learned
sir.
a lot.
Professor Oniginde, I greet you.
Thank you.
I've
Thank
learned
you.
a lot.
Thank you, sir.
Thank
We are
you.
very
Welcome.
grateful. Thank you, sir.
Professor Vivian, thank you.